At 3:12 in the morning, I watched from my porch as my entire property lit up like a hostage standoff. Flashing reds and blues, sirens howling, tires crunching down the gravel driveway. And behind the gate, for officers, guns drawn, shouting commands into the darkness. And right there, standing dead center in the floodlight beam like some deranged raccoon caught in the act, was Linda. Pink pajamas, fuzzy slippers, bolt cutters in hand like she'd just won a trophy. I had my coffee in one hand, remote in the other, watching the whole thing go down on my security feed. Linda froze, her face a bizarre mashup of panic and pride, then dropped the cutters like they'd turned molten. I didn't even blink. I've been waiting for something like this ever since she declared war over a damn privacy gate. 2 days earlier, I'd reached my limit. Linda, self-appointed HOA queen and all-around nightmare, had already been warned multiple times by the sheriff to stay off my land. But she insisted, as president of the Homeowners Association, that she had the right to inspect any structure she found suspicious. My gate, apparently, fell into that category. Not because of any real violation, hell no, but because it blocked her view of my home. That was the real crime in her eyes. Every week, like clockwork, she'd stomp up to my gate, clipboard in hand, and demand to be let in, rambling about community visibility and some archaic clause buried in HOA bylaws that hadn't been relevant since the early 90s. I told her flat out, this is private land. The gate sits on an easement, legally documented, and the HOA has zero say out here. But logic didn't stand a chance against her self-righteous crusade. Name's Ethan, by the way. I moved here 6 months ago after 20 years in corporate hell and one nasty divorce. Wanted peace. Bought this slice of unincorporated county land, built the house with my own 2 hands. Okay. And a little help from a few buddies who owed me favors. And when it came time for security, I didn't mess around. Called my cousin Max, guy who runs a security tech firm, and we went all out. Reinforced gate, cameras, silent alarms, the works. All of it legal. All of it necessary. Because Linda wasn't just annoying, she was the type to escalate. Sure enough, 10 minutes after we finished the last weld on the gate, Linda appeared like a demon summoned by fresh steel. She screamed that I was isolating the community and accused me of breaking boundary rules. I calmly told her she was trespassing on easement land and warned her not to damage anything again, or I'd press charges. That night, my mailbox got popped open and my trash can was overturned. So I raised the stakes, added more cameras, some obvious, some hidden, upgraded the system so any tampering with the lock triggered an instant alert to the sheriff's office, complete with GPS pings, thermal imaging, and video snapshots. It wasn't paranoia. It was defense. And it worked, because the moment Linda clipped the lock at 3:10 a.m., the system lit up like a casino jackpot. Within 90 seconds, 2 patrol units screeched onto the property. She barely had time to cross the gate before officers were shouting at her to drop the cutters. She tried to play the "I'm the HOA president" card, like it was some kind of diplomatic immunity. Didn't work. One officer moved in, disarmed her, cuffed her. She screamed about lawsuits, about her authority, about how I was the real danger to the community. Once things calmed down, I stepped outside. Deputy Harris, who'd had the misfortune of dealing with Linda before, gave me a look that said, "Finally." I showed him weeks of footage documenting her harassment. He just sighed. "We've had other calls about her. This might be the thing that stops her." They detained her, didn't arrest. Just detained, but that was enough. Cameras recorded everything, in full clarity, with timestamps and audio. I backed it up 3 different ways. By morning, I'd emailed the HOA board video, easement deed, everything, subject line, incident at 3:12 a.m., please advise. I looped in my lawyer and the county clerk, just to cover bases. Sent the video to my brother, too. He's a legal commentator with a huge online presence. Call me laughing, said, "This'll be viral by lunch." He wasn't wrong. By noon, the video, titled HOA President Caught Cutting Security Gate at 3 blew up. Comments poured in roasting Linda. One said, "She risked jail to check his lawn height." The sheriff opened an investigation. and my lawyer filed for a restraining order. Neighbors who had quietly hated her started speaking up. One brought me cookies, said, "We've been waiting for someone to catch her." But Linda? Oh, she wasn't done. Next morning, 9 o'clock sharp, she stood across the street with a megaphone and flyers yelling, "I was wrongfully detained. This is what happens when you give a man a gate and a God complex." I nearly spit out my coffee. But the neighborhood wasn't laughing. That video had nearly 1 million views now, and public opinion had flipped. Even her loyalists were jumping ship. One guy, Tom, who got fined for Christmas lights in March, commented online, "Hope she liked her own medicine." Linda tried to save face with a pop-up community restoration meeting under a sagging tent in her yard. Only a handful showed up. I walked by discreetly filming. She waved a screenshot of the video, calling it slander. That's when Sarah, board member, lifelong local, stood up and shut her down. "You broke the law, Linda. That gate is legal. You're lucky you weren't arrested." The crowd laughed. A kid yelled, "What code?" "Anti-fence vibes." Linda lost it, knocked over a table of lemonade, started shouting about harassment. Sarah pulled out her phone, "Step down by next vote or I'll move to remove you." Linda stormed off. Next morning, the restraining order was served. No more than 100 feet from my property. She retaliated by posting a video calling me a tech tyrant. One kid sent me a flyer she put up in the park. Cartoon me holding a drone remote with glowing red eyes. My lawyer laughed. Said we could add defamation to the case if we wanted. Then it got weirder. She wore a body cam 24/7. Accused families of a tech takeover. Claimed my porch lights blinked in a militarized pattern. When she tried to host another unauthorized HOA meeting, Sarah shut it down. Linda's key didn't work. She tried to force the door. Police were called. Officers found the restraining order and bizarre flyers about surveillance drones. Told her to go home. She didn't stop. Filed a complaint saying my gate was weaponized, and my porch lights caused subliminal distress. My lawyer called it the most unhinged affidavit of the year. Then the real bomb dropped. Sarah found a folder in the HOA's cloud drive, labeled emergency expenditures. Turns out Linda had reimbursed herself $12,000 for things like community tactical upgrades and a security retreat, which was actually a yoga trip to Sedona. Receipts were digitally altered. Fraud investigators got involved. Linda went full meltdown. 7-page press release emailed to residents and a local news station. Claimed I doctored the footage. Accused me of leading a smear campaign. She even circled my face in a photo, labeled known agitator. My lawyer prepared a defamation suit. The sheriff's fraud unit requested everything. They got it all. When they saw Linda's clip accusing me of cyber warfare and porch hypnosis, the detective just muttered, "This is the weirdest HOA case I've seen." Her home became a local tourist attraction. People drove by just to gawk. She went full recluse. Hoodies, sunglasses, the whole 9 yards. Then came her final stunt. Weeks later, my cameras picked her up again, dressed all in black. Crouched by my gate, waving some kind of device at the post. Looked like a scanner. Or a jammer. Didn't matter. My system triggered instantly. Cops arrived before she could finish her TikTok monologue about unlawful surveillance. They took the device, sat her on the curb, questioned her. She muttered about drones and rights. They booked her for violating the order. The footage went viral again, this time titled "Hoax President's Failed Comeback." Memes exploded. Linda battling invisible tech. She faced trespassing charges, was ordered to pay restitution. A realtor's letter confirmed her home was now listed under a third-party name. Moving day came quietly. She loaded up the SUV in a sun hat and glasses, never once looking anyone in the eye. Drove off. No drama, just silence. And with that, the neighborhood finally exhaled. Mailboxes became chat spots again. Kids laughed louder. The HOA held a cookout. No meetings, no fines. I swapped the steel warning on my gate for a wooden sign. Protected by community and common sense. At the barbecue, Tom flipped burgers. Sarah gave a toast. Someone joked I should be the HOA historian. I passed. That chapter's closed, or is it? Because hey, you tell me, was I right for going full Fort Knox? Or did I just add fuel to a fire that should have burned out on its own? Let me know down below. What would you have done?